Off we go, another trip to Texas. Good old Texas. Beautiful scenery, lots of wonderful oil, friendly animals, and a beautiful house to stay in. But when I think of Texas, I think of Flint and arrowheads, and Flint and arrowheads, and Flint and arrowheads, and Flint, arrowheads, and Flint, arrowheads. And did I mention Flint? Anyway, a recent trip to Texas, not so recent, we discovered that they were building a new road. And in the road, which was pretty wide, it's a new superhighway basically, we found these funny looking nodules, reddish brown. Some had slightly different appearance. Some were broken, and you could see this web-like structure in the middle. It's very distinctive, and I thought I'd seen that before. And when I got home, I checked it out, and I noticed this thing by Scott Singleton on cycads. This is a living cycad, but we're interested in fossil cycads. This is from the Yale University Peabody Museum collection. And I remember seeing this article by Scott Singleton, in which it showed this. And I said, this is what we have. And I mixed it all up, and I said, we've got the same thing. Those are cycads. Well, he wasn't really talking about cycads, but anyway, so we started mining. And mine we did, mind you. Nodules were pretty much everywhere in this very large thing, and you could even see on the sides of the cuts. They're just bulging out at the sides of the cut. Filled up a pickup truck full, and did it many times actually, and collected them in the garage, waiting and eventually to take them home with us. Beautiful, unusual, and really unknown. What the heck are these things? Well, they're definitely something. So we packed up the truck, got ready, and took off for the long drive home. Beautiful sunsets. 3 days later, we finally made it. But all those rocks, lots of them, and all those boxes we had put them in, well, I decided to take them out of the boxes and put them in plastic containers. And, well, there were a lot of them. Some of them were big. These are big, I would consider them. Less than a foot or so. This one weighed about 70 pounds. More big ones. Sort of big to medium here, and even smaller ones. These are all intact nodules. Some huge, irregular ones. A really big, irregular one. And the biggest one of all was broken. But then we had these pieces of them as well, not intact, obviously. Fractured. Got them all boxed away and into the storage facility. Back rolling. After 4 or 5 years. This is after 1 day of grinding. This one was fairly well exposed to begin with. This one was pretty much like that, except you could see the center part, but the layers, the covering layers at the side, the cortex is thinning. So the preliminary results were looking pretty good. Got good, nice smooth surfaces, very pretty colors. But what the heck are these stones? Well, are they cycads, as I originally thought? If so, they'd be worth millions of dollars, maybe. Look at ours, and look at Scott Singleton's. His are definitely a form of petrified wood, but what are mine? So I sent it off, and I got an answer. Yale University says it's Septarian nodules, and Scott Singleton himself said that they're Septarian nodules. The way you can tell, if you look in theirs on the left, you see those white lines. That's the vascular pattern of a plant. But the inside of ours was barren, so finally, the finished product. Nice shiny stones. That's the bottom, showing the distinctive bottom. This one looked like a turtle. That was the backside. Pretty nice specimen. This one was brown, very soft, but pretty. Another smaller one, a bigger one. This is the bottom side. There's the top side. It looks like a mushroom. They really look beautiful. Here's a bunch of them. This is the best example of a polished Texas Septarian nodule that I have. This is a characteristic dome surface. These are the septa. The word septa is plural for the word septum. Most people know of a septum like I have a deviated septum, but the word septum is actually Latin in origin. And it was originally defined to mean a fence. A septum is just an area of demarcation of one thing from another. In other words, from one side of your nose to the other. That's why it's called the nasal septum. The distinctive feature of these is their mushroom shape. This is the cap of the mushroom, and this is the stem. We can see the shiniest areas are black. Those are the ones that contain the highest content of silica, and basically they're about as hard as most jaspers. The dark red is also hard. You can see it took a good shine. The light brown and the lighter reds don't take the polish as well. The brown areas are less shiny. See that? Texas Septarian nodule, not to be confused with thunder eggs or thunderbirds, thunder anything. This particular specimen is of great interest because, oh, and look, there's a baby turtle inside. Oh, how cute. Oh, it's a boy. It's a boy. Yeah, it's definitely a boy. Wait a minute, maybe that's a girl. How to put it back together. Well, that took some work. That's why I keep these around. These are specially made, thin sheets of rubber cut into rings. I had them custom made for this purpose. These are called Septarian cortex holders. They're very expensive. In this segment of the Great Opal quiz is brought to you by Universal Rubberized Hoops, made specifically for holding Septarian nodules, Texas Septarian nodules together. When your needs call for binding a Septarian nodule together from Texas or only Texas, call on Universal. They're there to help, and they're there to help. So, back to the quiz. What is the difference between these two similar shaped rocks? No multiple choice here. You either know it or you don't. It's sort of a fill in the blanks. This is, anybody out there know? Raise your hand. Nobody knows. This is a small flint nodule from San Antonio, Texas. This is what's called a knobby, which is a nodule of Lightning Ridge, Opal from Lightning Ridge, Victoria, Australia. I hope I got that right, but it's probably New South Wales. How are these similar? They're similar because they're both composed of silicon dioxide primarily, and one is opalized, one is not. It's just silicified. This is silicified, but it's also opalized, meaning the silica molecules are arranged in a specific pattern to give that color. I should wet this. You didn't see that. So they're both comprised mostly of silica, and also one other thing, they formed in, anybody get this? Anybody waiting? They both formed in holes. Holes, I tell you. Holes, I tell you. Holes, I'm from a hole. I'm from a hole. They formed in holes and waited millions of years to come to us as they are. But this one came from Texas, and this came from Australia. So they're different nationalities, but they look alike. And I would like to say that in my own personal experience, knowing many Texans and a fair number of Australians, that Texans and Australians are very similar, at least to me. What do you mean, Mike? You have a bad Australian accent. I'm finished.